So Leukogene Therapeutics is a small drug discovery company. We're focused on developing new treatments for cancer. Specifically, myeloma is the disease of interest. Myeloma is the second most common blood cancer, and it's really a significant health burden to the people of South Carolina and nationwide for that matter. And so Leukogene is developing smart drugs or targeted therapies, and that's in contrast to chemotherapies that I think most people are familiar with. And chemo is basically just a poison that kills dividing cells, and that's a very good therapy for maybe killing cancer cells, a good strategy for killing cancer cells. It also kills a lot of normal cells. So chemo has a lot of dose-limiting toxicities, and it really limits that class of drug and its effectiveness. So Leukogene is developing very smart targeted therapies that target specific mechanisms in myeloma cells, and what you gain from that is you can kill cancer cells but spare normal cells. And so the therapies will be good for myeloma as well as some other diseases like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and some disorders like amyloidosis and maybe even autoimmune disorders. So the company has a very big patient population that's in need of new therapies. It's a really good, large market opportunity, and it covers across a couple different disease categories. So the technology is still in development. And if we defined it, it would be a drug. That's the class of technology. And so drug development it's really a long process. It's time consuming. It's resource intensive. And so what Leukogene is doing is taking a collaborative approach that involves collaborations with academia, involvement of the CRO sector, involvement of local and state support systems like the SCRA, federal sources of support like the National Institutes of Health, Small Business Administration. And the goal there is to take a process that's time-consuming and expensive and streamline it to get a product to patients faster and cheaper, and use that collaborative model to do so. So the SC Launch Program has supported Leukogene through an SBIR, STTR matching grant program. So Leukogene has a Small Business Technology Transfer Research Award from the National Cancer Institute, so that's the STTR program. And so the SC Launch provided the matching grant funds to help support the project. So it's a phase 1 award from the NCI, and it's a good amount of money, but with science, research supplies are expensive. Reagents are expensive. The people who have to do the work have a really unique skill set. They took a long time honing that skill set, and so their time is expensive. And so the phase 1 award, it doesn't go all that far. And the matching grant funds from the SCRA has been absolutely essential in helping the project move forward and positioning the company for a phase 2 award, positioning the company to go out and raise money from other sources as well. I think South Carolina is a great place for technology development, and that was one of the reasons that I moved here. The commercialization, what I found as a scientist, is the commercialization process was really absolutely essential for taking an idea from the lab and actually turning it into something that's useful to patients. An idea, even the greatest idea in the world, is still just an idea, and if it's not turned into something applicable, then what value does it have to anyone? And so in doing that, you need the commercialization process. You need to move a technology into a different space where you can bring different people together, raise money from different sources, and move things along and into patients, into advanced health. And the support system in South Carolina is outstanding for that. I think the SCRA is providing a great resources and a support network for entrepreneurs and small companies to help with that commercialization process, because it's not an easy one. And you need all the pieces in place in a region. And I think South Carolina has that, and I think the SCRA is doing a great job of supporting and providing what entrepreneurs and small companies need. I think, again, what I've learned is the need for the commercialization process and the need for that to be supported locally and nationally. For South Carolina to be competitive regionally in the Southeast and nationwide, you really need the network in place to support biotech, to support medtech, because that if you think about the economic health of a region, medtech, biotech is one of the best economic supporters, high-paying jobs, the tax base. You think about wealth creation, the multipliers on medtech, biotech investments are as good as they get, and so it's really important for the state to have an investment in that sector, and so the SCRA supporting entrepreneurs and small companies is really an important part of that process, and so what I've learned is that you really need to move things in the commercial space. If you as a scientist, if you want to make a difference and you want to have an impact on patients, which is the goal, we're not just in labs developing idea after idea, we're trying to turn them into something. You need the commercial space, you need the ecosystem, so to speak, for that, and South Carolina has it. Yeah, so right now we're deciding on which drug we want to move forward into that clinical candidate stage. And we put together, I think, a strong platform for discovery, where that is, how do you find the drug, number one, how do you test the drug and evaluate it, number two, and then you have to feed things back into that process. So it's a platform, and I think we've built over time a strong platform for deciding what the best candidate or candidates will be. And so now it's a matter of, and there have been growing pains associated with developing that platform. So you start somewhere, you have an idea, you start somewhere, you try it, it works a little bit, you find out where it doesn't work, so you go back, you tweak it, you improve it, and then you continue to build from there. And so I think we're at the point now where we have all that process in place, and we're getting close to deciding on what that clinical candidate is going to be. And so I anticipate in the next half a year that we have a real strong molecule that is ready for the traditional preclinical testing that will eventually lead to an investigational new drug application to the FDA, and from there, clinical trials, patients.